Hello everyone, good morning, good afternoon, good evening, wherever you are all over the world. Welcome back to my channel. It is still your one and only 24/7 news boss. We are here to bring you another fresh update concerning the IPOB. And if you are joining us for the first time, don't forget to hit that subscribe button, like and share this video, and also don't forget to turn on the notification bell so you don't miss any of our breaking stories. Today's headline, we're going to talk about a fresh tension in the southeast as Biafran Liberation Army clashes with Ebubeagu operatives in Imo State. Let's dive right into the full story. In what has been described as one of the most intense confrontations in recent times, members of the Biafran Liberation Army (BLA) reportedly launched a surprise attack on a security camp belonging to the Ebubeagu security operatives in Imo State. According to eyewitnesses' reports, the incident took place in the early hours of the morning when armed men believed to be members of the Biafran Liberation Army stormed the Ebubeagu base, opening heavy gunfire on the operatives who were on duty. The clash lasted for several minutes, with the sound of gunfire echoing across nearby communities. Residents were forced to flee for safety as the gun battle intensified. Sources say the Biafran Liberation Army overwhelmed the Ebubeagu operatives, forcing them to abandon their camp and vehicles and flee the area. Reports indicate that the attackers took control of the camp briefly before setting part of it ablaze. The aftermath of this confrontation has left the community deeply divided. While some residents described the incident as an act of resistance against what they call government-backed oppression, others condemned the Biafran Liberation Army for what they termed an act of lawlessness and unnecessary violence. One resident who spoke anonymously said, "Ebubeagu has been accused of harassing innocent people, so what happened is not surprising." Another resident countered, saying, "Violence cannot bring peace. Both Ebubeagu and these armed groups are putting our lives at risk." Security experts in the region have expressed concern that this attack may signal a new phase of conflict between pro-Biafran armed groups and state-backed security outfits. Already, tension is rising across several communities in Imo, Anambra, and Ebonyi states, as many residents fear possible reprisal attacks by Ebubeagu or other allied forces. The Imo State government has yet to release an official statement, but security reinforcements have reportedly been deployed to restore calm and protect government facilities. Let's sit back and watch the short video.
Yes. Yeah, we beg. He lost. Yeah, we beg get there, Ebubeagu. We conquer that place. The pen can have been here. Yeah, we lost her. Yeah, we beg there, Ebubeagu. Yeah, we lost her. We bust here today. Here we do this Libration, Biafran Liberation Army. Yes. Yeah, we been there, but we are lost. I ain't any hustle now. Yes, I ain't any hustle. Yes, we are conquering them. Yes. Yes, we conquer them today. Yes. Hey. Now attack! Now attack! Now attack! Now attack!
Analysts believe that the rising insecurity in the southeast cannot be separated from the continued detention of Nnamdi Kanu, the leader of the indigenous people of Biafra (IPOB). For years, Nnamdi Kanu's incarceration has remained a central issue, fueling anger among pro-Biafra supporters, who see his arrest and detention as political persecution. Political analysts argue that the government's inability to engage in meaningful dialogue with Igbo leaders has allowed armed groups like the Biafran Liberation Army to gain influence in some parts of the region. One security analyst noted, "Every time there is an attack or a protest linked to Nnamdi Kanu, new groups emerge claiming to defend Biafran interests. The lack of communication and reconciliation has made things worse." Another analyst said, "Until the Zoo government addresses the root causes of discontent in the southeast, political exclusion, security harassment, and economic marginalization, such clashes will continue." There are also calls from religious and traditional leaders for both sides to exercise restraint and for the Zoo government to revisit Nnamdi Kanu's case, seeing it as a potential key to restoring peace and dialogue in the region. Many observers are calling for a non-military approach to solving the Southeast crisis. They believe dialogue, community engagement, and justice are more effective than force. Human rights groups are urging the Zoo government to investigate alleged abuses by Ebubeagu operatives while also disarming violent groups operating in the name of Biafra. Experts insist that for peace to return, the Zoo government must open channels for peace talks, possibly involving neutral mediators and respected elders from the region. At the same time, communities are encouraged to avoid harboring armed groups and instead work closely with the security agencies to protect lives and property. In another development, reports from Imo State have shown a heavy deployment of the Zoo military forces, especially around rural communities in Olo and Njaba areas. Residents say dozens of military trucks and armored vehicles have been seen moving in convoy through the villages, a scene that has caused panic and fear among the locals. Eyewitnesses describe the situation as tense and uncertain, as soldiers are said to be conducting aggressive operations in search of members of the Biafran Liberation Army and other armed groups operating in the region. However, local sources say innocent villagers have been caught in the middle, with homes, shops, and even farmlands destroyed in the process. According to residents, the Zoo military opened fire in several communities, allegedly targeting buildings believed to be hideouts for separatist fighters, but many locals insist that the attacks hit residential areas instead. Videos circulating online shows elderly women crying as bullets hit their store and their business scattered. A community leader from Olu, speaking anonymously for fear of reprisal, said, "We woke up to sounds of gunfire. The soldiers came with tanks and started shooting randomly. They burned down houses and shops, accusing us of harboring militants. But these are innocent people." Let's sit back and watch the short video.
Chineke ekwenye ndụ amị o. Ihe 7 years agaghịla o. Eight.
Em chéo cái tay cao quay gù. Aku sih udah lupa. Oh, di jauh sih dah.
Kwani mgbe agbagazila obodo a. Kwani mgbe agbagazi. Lee ka mmadụ na complain la ọhọrọ obere ihe. Ọhọrọ obere ihe agbagbuo ya. a tọrọ atụla obodo ahụ obere ihe na mgbe ọkara ịgbagbu dis man na obere ihe na mgbe ọkara ịtụta lele ya ebe a obere ihe na obere ihe ogbe kara ịgbata ya na obere ihe ebe ha nọ ọrụ la-arụ ọrụ ebe ha nọ ọrụ ebe ha nọ ọrụ obere oge na mgbe ọkara ịtụta akala agba egbela nwa ahụ gaa leela shọpụ ndị mmadụ ka mgbọ m batara leela shọpụ ndị mmadụ ele bulet egodi ihe agbara ele bulet agbara ele ihe ndị mmadụ biznes ndị mmadụ ele biznes ndị mmadụ ele ashọpụ mmadụ ele ihe mere ihe nwaanyị mmadụ ji ya akara lee ha mebishie obere anya na mgbọ kara ịgbagbu mmadụ na maanị na mgba egbe agbatachago bela shọpụ mmadụ agba egbe.
Several villagers claim that at least a dozen of homes have been destroyed, while others have reported missing family members since the operation began. Shops that serve as a main source of income for small traders have also been flattened, leaving many without means of livelihood. The entire region is now gripped with fear. Residents say they can no longer move freely or sleep peacefully at night, worried that another round of raids might begin at any moment. Many families have fled their communities to neighboring towns or to the state capital. One displaced resident told our reporter, "We have nowhere to stay. They say they are fighting criminals, but we are not criminals. They are destroying our homes and our future." Markets remain deserted, schools have closed temporarily, and roads leading to affected communities are under tight military watch. The tension has also disrupted farming activities, worsening the hardship already felt in rural areas. Security analysts and human rights observers are now calling for restraint, according to Dr. Alex Nwosu, a public affairs analyst. While the Zoo military has a duty to protect the country and fight armed groups, the use of excessive force against civilians only fuels resentment and deepens the crisis. Military action must be intelligence-driven, not community-wide punishment. Several analysts warn that these kinds of heavy-handed operations could worsen the insecurity in the southeast by alienating local communities and creating sympathy for the armed groups. Civil rights organizations are also demanding an independent investigation into the alleged destruction and civilian casualties. They argue that the use of live ammunition and property destruction violates both human rights law and the Zoo nation's own military code of conduct. On social media, citizens are divided. Some argue that strong military action is needed to end the rising violence in the southeast, while others say the approach is counterproductive and might lead to further radicalization. This latest development comes amid ongoing insecurity in the southeast, where separatist tensions and militias and vigilant groups have led to repeated clashes and instability. Imo State has remained a flashpoint, and the growing military presence suggests the Zoo government is not taking the situation lightly. However, the big question remains, at what cost? When civilians lose their homes, when traders lose their shops, and when fear becomes the daily reality of ordinary people, who truly benefits? The clash between the Biafran Liberation Army and Ebubeagu security operatives in Imo State, alongside the Zoo military's large-scale operations, once again highlights just how fragile peace remains in the southeast. As both sides continue to trade blame, ordinary citizens are the ones caught in the middle, living in fear, losing homes, shops, and loved ones. When peace efforts turn into destruction, we must ask, who truly benefits? So my people, do you think the Zoo government will finally engage in genuine dialogue to end this cycle of violence? Is the continued detention of Nnamdi Kanu helping or worsening the insecurity in the region? And can the military's approach really bring peace, or will it deepen the tension and mistrust? Most importantly, what should the Zoo government do differently to win back the trust of the people and secure lasting peace in the southeast? We would love to hear your thoughts in the comment section below. Don't forget to like, share and subscribe to 24/7 News Boss for more in-depth updates. Until next time, stay informed, stay safe.